Are you planning a virtual or hybrid event and you're curious about what slides or like graphics that you need at a bare minimum if you're working an event? Well, I have done hundreds of events and a lot of them virtually or hybrid. And here are the three that I always ask my event clients, the event hosts or organizers, to make sure they give me and the production team so that we are all set and ready to roll for the event day. Before we jump into it, I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer. I'm based in Seattle, Washington, but I produce events all around the world and across the US. I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. I'm also the co-host of the Better Events podcast. You can give it a listen wherever you listen to podcasts. Myself and fellow event pro Mary Davidson, we dive into a different topic every week. Those episodes are a little longer than these videos you see here, usually around that 30-minute mark, and it is free. You can listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So I have done a variety of events virtually or hybrid, meaning some part of that event is virtual, whether it's in bringing in virtual speakers or there's a virtual audience. And there's something that I constantly am asking every host or client or any production agency would ask you for these. And these are three different slides, I call them, but they could really be graphics too. It just depends if you're doing it a little more DIY. I've had my clients use everything from PowerPoint to Canva to actually having a graphic design team build this. But the first one is you got to have a title slide. I have come to some events where they will have content slides. Maybe it's an educational event and there's multiple speakers and all the speakers will have their own event slides that they're going to be showing. But you need one slide that says like the title of your event, maybe the time, the date, and maybe the location. It can show your branding if you're a brand or have your logo, but just something that like we can put on the screen virtually. And that tells people, I'm in the right place. I'm at the right time. Okay, this is great. I'm where I'm supposed to be. This is so useful. And I will actually bonus, I guess, if you're in person, you need this as well because it's a great safety slide, we'll call it, where you can throw that on the screen if something happens or some other slides aren't working, or just as a transitional slide. It is great to have that as just kind of like your anchor point for your event. So make sure you have a title slide. My second one I would say is make sure you have a thank you for joining or a closing. So we have those bookends for your event, the opening slide, and we have a closing slide. Again, that signals to your virtual audience that the event is over. And again, you can have fun with this. You can have a call to action telling folks to do something else. But just having something that ends, again, worst case scenario, you could always use your title slide to close it, but it is confusing for attendees if they had seen that at the beginning and it doesn't say anything like, we are done, we're finished, thank you for joining us, have a good rest of your day or your evening, or we're now moving over to this other platform to do some networking. But you need a closing slide because it really just kind of punctuates that the event is over, and you can put it up there for anybody who maybe looked away and looked back and go, oh, the event's over, and isn't sitting and waiting for your event to come back. And my third slide, that when I say if you have to have a minimum of three, you can have way more than this, but a minimum third is I call it my technical difficulties slide. Now, if you've worked with me before, hey guys, if we have, you know that I love this slide in the sense that it's like my lucky rabbit's foot. And I always tell my clients, I need this slide because every time I have it, I don't need to use it. If I don't have it, I'll definitely wish I had it. So what does this mean? I usually say it's like a, we'll be right back. You can do a pun on it. I've had some people, they were doing like a pool themed corporate event and they said, the pool's being cleaned right now. Or somebody else had a dog that loved to stay and sit. And it was a picture of their dog staying and sitting saying, we're like retraining our thoughts or something. So you can have fun with it. Oh, my favorite had to be, there was a masquerade event, masquerade award show. And we had it saying, we were adjusting our masks. We'll be right back. So you can have some fun with it, but even as simple as just, we'll be right back, that slide, the case and when you would use that would be if something happened on the back end, something like a speaker's muted and you cannot get their attention without alerting everyone. You'd put that slide up. Or maybe a video is not working properly. You could put that slide up while you troubleshoot. Again, that slide's not meant to stay there for even a minute or longer than that. It could be just a quick 10, 15, 20-second cover slide, but I have been at events where as an attendee, something has happened. They have not had something to tell us that. And it's very confusing when you see that you're like, do they know something's wrong? Are they fixing it? Even if it's your title slide that you put up there, again, it's confusing. You'd have to be very active in the chat or whatever communication system you're using with attendees to fill them in. So having this slide is just a really easy way to communicate, hey, we're aware something's happening. We're fixing it. We're going to be back as quick as we can. These are the 3 slides: an opening slide, event title slide, a closing slide, and a we'll be right back slide. As long as you have those 3 minimum, I even would do them if I was just hosting like a Zoom webinar or a workshop, because you just never know. It's really helpful to have. And as long as they're just slides, so in that like 16:9 format in Zoom, they'll fill the whole screen. Most other streaming platforms, you want them in 16:9, which is like 1980 by 1020. If you were exporting out of a graphic design program, or usually your standard 16:9 slides in like a PowerPoint or something would do it. This has been another installment on my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to event production, running your own business, Zoom, hybrid events, and more. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.